Hi guys, welcome back to Football Frenzy, the channel that keeps you up to date with the latest football content. Apologies for the lack of content recently, just been really busy. Really getting on with the gym at the moment, really like I'm on a bulk plan at the moment, so just really grafting with that and also just life just generally taking over. But in this video, I'm just going to do a roundup of the World Cup games so far. My video was meant to be on Friday night, apologies, but life just taking over. So yeah, it's just going to be a roundup of all the, well, pretty much most of the group games, what we've seen, the best games, in fact, that we've seen so far, and how the tables are looking. Of course, I did my last video was the World Cup predictions. Fair to say it's not playing out how I expected it to be. But to be fair, we're only on the first round of games. There's obviously been some games that have had a second round of games as well, but yeah, we'll have to look into who's performed well so far, who hasn't, and do I change my prediction? I don't think I am going to change my prediction. Actually, I still think Portugal will get far. Um, they did disappoint in the first game against Dr. Congo, admittedly, but I still think there's time. I remember back in 2010 World Cup, Spain were clearly the best team in the whole tournament, but they had issues down the line. They did have issues in the fact that they've lost their first game. I think it was against. I'm gonna say, was it Saudi Arabia? It's such a long time ago now, but I do remember them losing their first game and them having that springboard to go ahead and also just completely change the way they approach games. So, and clearly they were the best team in the tournament. Obviously, they beat Netherlands in the final as well. So yeah, I do think it's very early days still. I mean, we saw Brazil recently; they drew against Morocco in the first game. Then in the second game, they were completely dominant against Haiti, weren't they? So yeah, I was calling actually for Mateus Cunha to start the game against Morocco, but for whatever reason, Angelotti decided against it. But we saw in the second game what he can do, and I feel like Igor Thiago now is going to have a real fight on his hands to get back into the starting lineup. So I do feel like Brazil did flex a little bit in the second game. They did perform, so yeah, it's looking all positive for them. I did say that I won't be surprised if in my predictions video I won't be surprised if they make the final. So and I still stick by that. I do think they could, go very very far in this tournament. Admittedly though, they if they do make the last 32 with the groups looking the way they are, Brazil winning their first game, Japan winning their Brazil winning their second game, and Japan winning their second game, it is looking like it might be Brazil versus Japan last 32, which is a bit of a sticky one for Brazil. I can't lie, that's going to be a really fascinating tie if that does happen. I'm just having a look now on the BBC Sport website. In fact, I can see, as it stands, it does actually say Brazil will play Japan, and as it stands in Brazil's group, Morocco will play the Netherlands. Some fascinating ties here, isn't there? And as it stands, Scotland will play Germany as well, from what I'm reading. So yeah, it's looking peak at the moment. There's some really juicy last 32 ties coming up. Um, I'll go through step by step what I think generally, and I'll go through the flops of the tournament. In fact, we will talk about the flops of the tournament now. I do think Turkey had a lot of expectation going ahead into the World Cup, but they have been really disappointing. They lost the first two games. They have such good players like Arda Huller, Yildiz. Obviously, he's been linked with Arsenal as well, but it's just been really disappointing from Turkey. They've not even scored a goal. I did see the highlights of the Paraguay-Turkey game, of course. There's been a lot of games where I've watched fully, but there's been also games which have been really, really late. Like Turkey have been playing at like 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, it's just really been a struggle to watch those games. But from the highlights, I have seen, for example, Turkey play against Paraguay, and they've been really dominant, but they just don't have that cutting edge. They just can't seem to find it. So yeah, unfortunately they are out, and yeah, and it's been really disappointing to be honest with you. So they made the semi final in 2002, but since then they've not had a look in really, have they? Since then, so yeah, I think Turkey have been a real big letdown, and do you know what? Actually, I was gonna say Ecuador, but their performances don't actually reflect their results right now. I gotta be honest, like I saw the highlights this morning of the game against Curacao, and they played really well, Ecuador. They just don't have that cutting edge. They just don't have that player or them players that are actually gonna get them over the line and score them goals. So we've seen at Arsenal this past season, like sometimes where we lack some cutting edge, especially in January 2026 earlier this year, we were really struggling to score goals. But that's what happens sometimes. You need players that are ruthless, that are going to have that cutting edge. Enna Valencia had quite a few chances against Curacao, but he just couldn't ultimately, score the goals to get Ecuador over the line, which has cost them. Essentially, well, it's not cost them, but it isn't looking great. If Ecuador get another point, for example, or Curacao, should I say, sorry, get another point, then Curacao could essentially finish third because I don't think Ecuador are going to beat Germany. They could get a draw, to be fair. They could do. It just depends on how Germany approach the game because they're pretty much a qualifier now. Do they go out for first place or do they lie on second place? I'm just having a look now. Actually, Germany, as it stands, will play Scotland. However, the Ivory Coast, who are second, will play France. So yeah, you know what? Actually, I think Germany will try and finish. Will try and win the final game because they don't want to be playing France already in the last 32. I think that's what they don't want. So I can see Germany winning that final game as well. And Curacao, if they manage to get a result against the Ivory Coast, then they could be through essentially. So it's interesting. But yeah, I think those two teams have been real flops, to be honest with you. Turkey and Ecuador. Well, Ecuador to an extent. I just think they're lacking some cutting edge. But Tunisia, they've been really bad as well, to be fair. They've been awful, haven't they? They've conceded like 9 goals. Been really, really disappointing from Tunisia's end. So they leave this tournament. We're not really seeing what they can really do, to be honest with you. So it's really disappointing. But um, Sweden had a really good result, didn't they? Gyökeres managed to score the first game. Isak had a really good game as well against Tunisia, but they played so poorly against Netherlands, didn't they? It was really disappointing to see Sweden last night. They were really, really terrible against Netherlands. So they've got work to do, but they are going to make third place. To be fair, I'm just having a look now. They're finishing on 0 points on their Tunisia. So as it stands, Sweden will play Norway. So it'll pretty much be Gyökeres v Odegaard. That's 32 ties essentially. So Netherlands will play Morocco if they finish first, and Japan will play Brazil. Wow, that's a juicy tie. I think I was saying that earlier. That is a really juicy tie. And Netherlands v Morocco as well. You see, Netherlands are going to finish first. I think they will finish first, and they play Morocco, who to be honest with you, the way they're playing, they're probably one of the pre-tournament favourites now. Like, as in, well, I say pre-tournament, I mean like since the games have been playing, Morocco have been highly regarded. Obviously, Bouadi's been playing really well. They've got Siberia as well, who signed for Bayern Munich. So there's a lot of talent in that Morocco squad. And yeah, I do expect them to have a good tournament from the way they're playing at the moment. It is looking all positive. I'll just go through some of the earlier group games, or should I say the tables that are looking earlier on. So obviously we've got Mexico in first place. Mexico performed excellently. I think having the crowd behind them, especially at that stadium in Azteca, they've played really, really well so far. And yeah, oh wow! And it's actually saying, as it stands, Mexico will play Spain, but I expect that to change. To be fair, I do think Spain will finish top of their group. They were missing some key players against Cape Verde, and I do think that will change. I do still think Spain will finish top of the table, which means Spain. I'm not sure actually. I'll have to find out. But I think Spain are playing in about an hour's time against. Let me have a look here. Sorry, I've forgotten who they play now. They are playing against. Uh, they are playing against. Sorry, that was it. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. See, I knew who it was. It's just kind of slipped my mind then. But yeah, so they are playing Saudi Arabia. I do expect them to top the group. I think they'll beat Saudi Arabia. I do think they'll beat Uruguay as well. So I don't think that'll happen. I do think Mexico will get a team that's on their level essentially, with the highest of respect. That I do think they'll get through the last 32 tie as well. I think the Azteca is just electric, isn't it, when you're watching it on TV? So I think looking at the groups now, I think Mexico will finish first, South Korea will definitely finish second, the other two, Czech Republic will finish third, I reckon, and South Africa, they've been really poor, to be fair. I saw them in the first game against Mexico, and they just have no attack. They can't attack, can they? It's just really, really poor from their end. So I think Czech Republic will comfortably finish third. Group B, Canada and Switzerland, yeah, I think they'll comfortably make it through. Bosnia to finish third, I reckon. Qatar to finish fourth. Um, Canada will actually, if Canada, I think Canada will finish first actually, but Canada, as it stands, they will play Belgium, which was an interesting tie to be fair, because I think Belgium are a decent side. I don't think they're a amazing side, but they're a decent side. And Switzerland will play South Korea. Mm. Yeah, so that's a couple of the early groups we've got. The United States group, so the US have played brilliantly so far, haven't they? They've been very, very good. Um, I do think the US will win all three games. Actually, they've won the first two. I think they will win the third one as well against Turkey. Saying that wouldn't surprise me if Turkey all of a sudden turned up and that performance, them performances we were expecting from them at the start of the tournament, they produce it in the last game when it does when the pressure's off. It doesn't really matter. But I do think the US will win all three games, and they will play Ecuador as it stands. Yeah, I think they'll go through in that one as well because Ecuador, even though they've been playing brilliantly, they're lacking that attacking edge, aren't they? And I do think you get punished by teams. We saw it in the first game against Ivory Coast. Ecuador played a really good game, especially in the first half, but because they couldn't take their chances in the first half, they got punished in the end. So that's ultimately the name of the game. But yeah, I think Group D is tight for second place actually, but I do think Australia will finish second and then Paraguay third, with Turkey being fourth. To be fair, both Australia and Paraguay will qualify anyway, given that Turkey can't qualify. Yeah, we've been through Group F. Group E and Group F we've been through. Group G, I've not been through that one yet. See, the rest of these groups, they've only played one game so far. The other ones they've played two games. But Group G, New Zealand, Iran, Belgium, and Egypt, they're all stuck on 1 point. I think Belgium and Egypt will comfortably qualify. I do think they're two decent teams. And third place, I do think it's a tough one. This actually, I didn't really watch the Iran New Zealand game, but if I had to throw one in, I probably would say it'd be Iran. Actually, I think New Zealand will finish fourth, in my opinion. Group H we've been through. I think Spain comfortably finished that group first, then Uruguay finished second. Group I, France looked amazing, didn't they? In fact, I will just go through now some of the standout performers throughout the groups and who I think are early shouts for like winning the whole tournament. I think France looked well. First half they looked really poor, funnily enough, in their game against Senegal. But second half they were brilliant, weren't they? They really took control of the game. Mbappe I thought was having a poor game until the 70th minute, but Mbappe performed brilliantly in the second half, and Olise as well when he came into the number 10 position. You really saw how good their attack really is. I thought Dembele had a poor game, so that's something that they need to think about going forward. Whether the balance maybe is better with Olise playing as a 10. Maybe Dembele goes out on the right, or do you even drop Dembele, which would be a big thing because he's a Ballon d'Or winner. He had an outstanding season with PSG again last season, won back-to-back Champions League titles with them. So it's a big call that Deschamps has to make. But France do look very, based on second half, very good and look like they're going to go very far in the tournament. Norway have got 3 points as well. Yeah, with Haaland was scoring a couple of goals, weren't he? And then yeah, they played quite well against Iraq. To be fair, I do think they'll comfortably qualify. I feel like even if you win one game, you're pretty much guaranteed third place at the moment. So, but I think Senegal will get second, in my opinion. I do think they will. I do think Norway will lose against France. France's next game is Iraq, actually, but I do still think Senegal will finish second because Senegal played decent. They played quite well in that first half against France. They were just unlucky they didn't take their chances, but on another day they take them and they may essentially even get a draw against France. So these are how fine the margins are in certain games. Group J, wow, that Messi performance. Just have to applaud it. Yeah, honestly, he's been a bane of my life for like the last 20 years. Obviously, when he's been playing Arsenal in the earliest 20th century, around 2010, 2011 season, I'm going to say. Yeah, he was amazing. And you just have to appreciate the brilliance of this man. He's 34 years old. And yeah, the fact that, no, sorry, he's 38 years old. In fact, he's 38. I'm thinking about myself there, 34. He's 38 years old. And the fact that he's able to produce this level of performance still at his age is just outstanding. And yeah, he's going to break the record for the most goals in the World Cup. That's a guarantee. It's going to be interesting to actually who ends the tournament as who scored more goals than Miroslav Klose, because I do think Mbappe will break it as well. So it'll be interesting to see that. But I thought Argentina might not be that amazing this tournament, but based on the first game, when you've got Messi, you've got a chance, haven't you? So it's interesting. Argentina could easily win this competition again. I'm going to say that on record. I don't think they will, by the way. I don't think they will. I do think I still will stick to my prediction of Portugal, since I did predict them at the start. That performance against Dr. Congo, though, was really poor. You just could tell with Ronaldo. This is the thing with him; he's 41 years old, and I do think maybe he does need to come out of the team. I'm having a look at Group K now, which is a group that Portugal are in. They're stuck on 1 point, Colombia on 3 points. I do think Portugal will still qualify, of course. I'm still predict them to win the whole thing. Um, but something does need to change. Something does need to change. That midfield, I don't think Bruno Fernandes was really in the game against Dr. Congo, and I do think they need to base their game around him rather than Ronaldo, because I do think Bruno has shown for United last season he can be the main man. If you give him the ball, if you let him work, if you let him do his magic, he can be the main man. But of course, when you got Joao Neves and Vitinha, who are brilliant players, by the way, but I felt like they were playing a lot like how they were at PSG, which won't work for Portugal. You've got to adapt according to the team that you're playing for. So I do think there needs to be a little tactical changes here and there. Um, the the big argument is whether Ronaldo should start going forward. It's a tough one, really, because well, who are the options, really? You've got Goncalo Ramos, you've got Joao Felix. Are they really going to change that much in terms of the performance for the Portugal front line? I'm not really sure. So I can see why, to an extent, why Roberto Martinez is playing Ronaldo. It just may be a case of maybe they need to rotate going forward. Maybe they have to start Ramos. Maybe they start Joao Felix. And then in other games, they start Ronaldo. It's something that obviously Roberto Martinez is paid to do, so he's going to have to figure it out. So, but I think for Group K, I do still think Portugal will finish the first, Colombia second, and then Dr. Congo to finish third. That's my opinion. Uzbekistan will get knocked out. And yeah, Group L, you know what? Well done, England, because that was a really good win. Defensively, not amazing. I've got to be honest. Defensively, we looked quite poor, but I do think that was the first time I've seen us play and feel like, you know what, it's a really good attacking performance. We've got some really good attacking play, some attacking flows. Like Bellingham was really good that game. And Madueke as well, who's had a lot of criticism this season. I thought he played quite well. And set pieces, set piece ole ole, uh, really came into force against Croatia. So it was a really good win, and it's probably the first time I've turned around and thought, you know what, we actually scored some good goals. We actually played some attacking football. Under Gareth Southgate, there used to be a lot of phases where, it wasn't really great to watch the football. And when we were 1-0 ahead, we used to just sit back. And that's, to be fair, that's a lot of what we've been doing under Arteta last season for Arsenal. But I just feel like England have a lot of talent. You've obviously got Bukayo Saka, you've got Madueke, you've got Harry Kane, you've got um, obviously Rashford as well. Anthony Gordon, I don't think he played great against Croatia, and I won't be surprised if he comes out of the team. But saying that, Tuchel likes these players that work hard, so it wouldn't surprise me either if he starts. But England looked very good that game. We looked very, very good, and I'll say now, I do think we're going to go far in this tournament. I do think we'll at least make the quarter final. From then on, I guess it depends on who we play. But then no team is like a standout this tournament, in my opinion. I do think the competition is quite open. It wouldn't even surprise me if, for example, Morocco go on and win the competition. Like, it's just that unpredictable at the moment. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'd that's just an overall uh, analysis of the groups. Um, I think the standout performers in terms of play so far has to be Messi, Mbappe. Just the performance he put in that second half was amazing. Cunha was really good for Brazil. I do think that front three are going to cause problems later in the competition. That front three of Vinicius Junior. You've obviously got Rafinha, who's injured now, by the way, but they've still got a lot of tactical talent there. Neymar's back. They've got Ryan as well, and I just think Cunha should start going forward because I don't think Thiago is at the level. Respectfully, I do think you need more to your game than just be a box player. You've got to be able to drop deep. You've got to get other players into play. You've got to be able to pass the ball. You've got to do things because you got to do things that are going to help the team. Because Brazil are a much better team than Brentford, for example. So you've got to have a lot of other things to your game. But yeah, Brazil, Germany, of course, they showed they can get over the line. They had that mentality yesterday to just get over the line. I don't think Germany, in my opinion, are going to get that far. I do think they'll probably get to quarterfinals and get knocked out. I did watch them yesterday. I wasn't that impressed, I got to be honest. Ivory Coast could have easily won the game, to be fair. They had quite a few chances, but they couldn't take them essentially, and that's what happens in this game, as I explained before. So, but I do think Brazil, France, of course, England. Um, I'm going to include Japan as well. Japan, even Morocco, Spain. I do think Spain will get far in the tournament. I do think Spain will at least make the semi-finals. They've got Yamal, they've got Nico Williams back as well. I do think them two are really key to what they do because otherwise the football is quite passive and they don't really have the attacking flair without them to go ahead and win games of football consistently, like we saw against Cape Verde. So I do think Yamal and Nico Williams are really key, and if they keep them two fit, then they will get very, very far. I think they will at least make the semi-finals. And Argentina as well. I think them teams. I'm thinking Portugal as well. Portugal, Argentina, Spain, England, France, um, Japan, Morocco, and Brazil as well. Brazil, I do think these teams will go very, very far from what I've seen from the first set of games. So yeah, I do think it's going to be quite a good tournament. But yeah, like I was saying about the players, Mbappe, Messi, I think are going to have very good tournaments. Harry Kane as well, he scored 2 goals as well. So them three are going to be one of the top scorers. One of them are going to finish with the golden boot, I reckon. Um, but yeah, I think my overall thoughts of the tournament so far, I think it's been a good tournament. I do think the timings, of course, it's our turn for us to endure the times these games are at. Sometimes it's not ideal because some of them can end up being like 4 o'clock in the morning. But I do think overall it's been a good tournament so far. And yeah, I do think there'll be more shock results, there'll be more goals, there'll be more fascinating goals as well. There's been some good goals this tournament so far, haven't there? I'm just thinking about the one Croatia scored against us. That was a really, really good goal. The one Mbappe's second goal as well was really good as well from outside the box. So I think there are going to be more twists and turns. There are going to be more surprises, and yeah, I think it's going to go strength to strength this tournament. There's looking like some really juicy last 32 ties as well, based on the second games that have already been played. Um, the standout one for me would probably be, well, the standout ones I should say is probably the Group F and the Group C conjunction, which is Netherlands will play Morocco if Netherlands finish first, which I think they will, and Japan play Brazil. Those are two really juicy ties, and I think Morocco will beat Netherlands, and I think Japan. No, I think Brazil will beat Japan. Just about. But it would have surprised if it goes to penalties and Japan win. So that'll be a really good game. But it's been a positive tournament, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see what else happens. Um, Please stay tuned for more content. I will be releasing another video as well, which is more club related. So yeah, please stay tuned for that. Thank you, guys.